So we get started. All right, so if you can see my screen, give a thumbs up. Or you can just put it, okay, I can say thumbs up. All right. All right, so that's good then. So welcome everyone. Today's session is titled Data Engineers versus Data Analysts versus Data Scientists and what's right for you with no prior tech experience, right? So before we begin, I just want to see everyone drop a quick eye in the chats with where you're joining from today. So I'd love to see where our community members are tuning in from, right? Or wherever you're coming from, just drop an eye in the chat box and where you are joining from. Okay, I can see some eyes in the chat box already. All right. Okay, Henry says from Toronto, Canada. That's good. That's good. Okay, Lydia from Toronto, Kelvin from Trinidad. All right, that's good. Emmanuel from Nigeria. All right, welcome. Dede from the UK, Andrew from the UK. Welcome, welcome. It's so good to have you here. Welcome, everyone. All right, so let's begin. Let's begin. Welcome, everyone, once again. Okay. Now, like I said, what we'll be doing today is titled Data Engineers versus Data Analysts versus Data Scientists, and what's the right one for you if you're a beginner in tech. Okay? And I want to emphasize the last part, no prior tech experience. So if you're joining today feeling, oh, like you don't know anything about technology, you don't know anything about data, you're in the right place. You're exactly in the right place. So this session was designed specifically for you. Okay? So before we dive in, I just want to make this interactive. I want to ask a quick question in chat. So how many of you have felt really confused about which data career to pursue? So you're like, oh, should I go for data engineer? Should I go for data analyst? Should I go for data scientist? So if you've been genuinely confused, just put a type of yes in the chat box. So if you've not been confused, you can just put a no. Okay, so if you've been confused, you can put a yes in the chat box. Okay, I can see Kelvin says yes. All right, all right, all right. It is definitely normal. It is completely normal, right, to be confused. So by the end of this session today, you'll have complete clarity on what each of these three roles actually does and which one matches your own personality and your experience and your interests, right? And how you can get started. So if you've never even written a line of code before in your life, you'll find out today how you can even get started in any of these tech or data roles. All right. So let's proceed. Let's proceed. So before we even begin, let me quickly tell you about Root Analytics, who we are, right? So Root Analytics is a leading edtech company, that's educational technology, and we're focused on providing specialized training in technology skills and delivering comprehensive data consulting services. So here's what makes us different, right? Over the past 4 years, we have helped more than 855 plus people transition. Yes, you heard that right. So over 2,855 people transition from the classroom into their first job in tech. Is that not wonderful? So, and these are not just local placements. So our graduates are working across the UK, US, Canada, Europe, Africa, and Asia, right? And we offer premium experimental training in data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, and AI engineering, right? So what's special about our facilitators, our instructors, they come from global companies like Apple, Amazon, and they also bring real world experience, not just theory, real world experience. Okay. So you can find us on our social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Okay. You can check us out for more information. All right. So before we also dive in, let me introduce, I have another of my wonderful facilitator here, which will be coming in later. So Jedediah, so he's also a seasoned technology professional with diverse experience spanning data analytics, data science, machine learning, and more recently, AI engineering. Okay. So he has also worked across with companies across the US, UK, Canada, and Nigeria. And he also has experience in as a data analyst, data scientist, and even in machine learning. Okay, so you'll be seeing him soon on your screen. And let me introduce myself also. So I'm Taiwo, and I'm also a skilled data professional with over 5 years of robust industry experience in data engineering and data analysis. I have experience in Python, SQL, ETL processes, data warehousing, and also cloud solutions, right? My experience spans across technology, fintech, FMCG, telecommunications, and entertainment. So you can also check me out on LinkedIn for more information. All right, so now enough about the introductions. Now let's talk about what we are here for today. What are we doing today? Okay, first of all, we have three main sections, right? First thing, we're going to understand the difference between the three roles, that's data engineer, data analyst, and data scientist, and what career path is relevant for you, right? And then we have the second section, which is the pathway to breaking into these jobs, into these roles, and securing a job. Okay, we'll talk about the employability skills that are required for these roles. And then the last part is the special discount we're going to be offering. I mean, you don't want to miss this. Special discount, the success stories from our previous graduates that have gotten jobs, and upcoming information on our starting course or upcoming course, right? So if you're ready, I want to say type ready if you're ready in the chat box. Before we dive in, type ready if you're ready in the chat box, and let's get started. Okay. Okay, I can see some chats ready. All right. So let's begin then. All right. So the first thing is, let's start with the elephant in the room. I mean, we've been talking about data engineer, data analyst, data scientist. Who is a data engineer? Who is a data analyst? Who is a data scientist? So you've probably seen these terms thrown around on LinkedIn, job postings, even maybe some of your friends have been talking about transitioning into one of these roles, right? But here's the question: are these even relevant career paths? Or how can you even get started as a beginner? Which should you choose? Which is the right one for you? So should you spend your time? Which should you actually spend your time, your money, your energy pursuing, right? So I'm going to give you my answer very soon, okay? I'm going to dive deep into each of them to understand what they actually all about. So now let's meet the players. Let's understand each of them. Now, I'm sure you must have heard that, oh, data is the new oil, right? But someone needs to extract, refine it, and also put it to use. I mean, even for your normal oil, you find oil, you have to extract it, refine it, and put it for use, right? Put it to use. Same thing with data. Wherever you are, data is all around you. Data is in your phone, your smartphones, everywhere you have data all around. But someone needs to extract the data from wherever it is being generated from, refine it, and put it to use. That is, analyze it to get value from it, right? So data by itself is useless. Yes, it is useless by itself without having anything to do with it, without analyzing it, refining it, it is useless. And then three main players in the data space is the data engineer, which is like the architect. So they build systems, they ensure that the data flows from where it is being generated to where it is being needed. So think of pipelines. You have pipelines connected in your homes, right? Bringing water to where you need it to be. Data warehouses, ETL pipelines, ETL processes, right? And then we have the data analysts, which are like the detective, right? So they investigate what happened with your data, whatever happened in the past. You're getting data from that has been generated. What has happened in this data? They find insights and tell stories using charts, using reports, using visualizations, using dashboards, right? And then we have the data scientists. Okay, this one's get the predictors. They predict the future. So they use advanced math, statistics, and AI to guess what is coming. They can predict what is going to happen in the future. I mean, is that not amazing? So think of machine learning models, ML models, predictions, AI. That is the data scientist. So now let's dive deep into each of them, since we've just seen an overview of what each of them does. First of all, we have the data engineer. Let's start with the data engineer. Now, a data engineer designs, the professional who designs, builds, and optimizes data pipelines. So they ensure that your data is accessible at all times. Not only accessible, also reliable and efficiently processed, ready for analytics, ready for operational use. So in plain English, every company has data coming from everywhere. Like I mentioned before, data is everywhere, right? So every company has data coming from everywhere. Customer purchases, whatever you buy online, is the data that's been generated. Customer purchases, mobile applications. Yes, whatever you do on your mobile applications, on your smartphones, is generating data, right? We have warehouses, accounting systems. All of these data is scattered and messy everywhere. Now, what is the data engineer's job? They are the builders. They build the pipelines to connect this data from where it's generated to where it is needed. More like highways, right? That connect all of this data and makes it usable. And one of the main responsibilities we have building and maintaining data pipelines. So these are automated systems that move data from point A to point B. Now just think of point A as a place where data is generated, as a source where data is generated. And then think of point B as where it's going to be used or analyzed. So the data engineers are building systems that bring data from one point A to point B, right? They also optimize data storage and processing. That is, they build efficient storage that will store data where data is coming from. I mean, you are bringing data from somewhere, but you need to store this data. You can't just bring it and leave it to float in the air. No, you have to store it somewhere. And that is your work as a data engineer. You're building the storage systems, the storage that would efficiently store this data and also efficiently retrieve the data when it needs to be used, right? And then we also have another role, responsibility, whereby the data engineer ensures data quality and reliability. So you're not just bringing the data from where it's being generated. No. I mean, think about you just taking the metadata from where it's generated and you're dumping it to the company, to the analyst, okay, take the metadata, garbage in, garbage out. No, they can't get any value from that. So you need to ensure, as a data engineer, you need to ensure clean, accurate, and trustworthy data. Your data has to be trustworthy. That's to bring value. That's to be accurate. And that is your work as a data engineer, right? So also supporting data-driven applications. So data engineers lays the foundation for others to depend on. You are the builder. You're laying the foundation, right? For the data analysts, the data scientists to come and build on. I mean, the data scientists and analysts cannot even do their job without you as a data engineer. They're depending on you. Okay, so you need to provide them with clean data, clean and reliable data. Okay. Now moving forward, let's as data engineer, like I said, you get data. How do we get thinking of how do we get data? How do we get data from the source? Right? And this role is perfect for you if you like building things. I'm sure we all know this Lego whereby you build it, and it forms one magical castle, right? So if you're someone that likes building things, data engineer is the role for you. And if you're someone that prefers logic over presentation. Like you love to think so much. Like, I mean, data engineer is not just you going to build something. You have to think. And what I mean, think, system design, system thinking. Oh, how the data flow from year to year. You're not just going to design a pipeline that will connect data together. No, you have to understand how it flows. And that is where the logic comes in. You prefer logic over presentation. Okay? The concept, the logic behind everything. And then it's perfect for you if you want to work with core tech and cloud systems. Okay. And then we have the barrier to entry. It is medium high. I mean, coding heavy. You have to code. It's not a child's play. You have to, if you're someone that loves to code, it's perfect for you. Even if you don't love to code, it's something you can learn and grow passion for, right? You can get to love it or grow to love it. But it is coding heavy, right? You're going to code a lot. Okay, so that is it for data engineer. I'm sure we've learned one or two things about what data engineers do, right? So let's move on to the next role, data analysts. Yeah, so data analyst. So I'll be honest, a data analyst, this is where most beginners start from. Yeah, I started as a data analyst, right? Before moving into data engineering. So this is where most beginners start. So who is a data analyst? A data analyst is a professional who collects, processes, and analyzes data to help organizations make informed decisions, right? Make informed decisions. So let me put this in plain English. You take messy data or even clean data, confused data, turn it into clear answers. Your job here is to make your stakeholders, your CEOs, whoever you're presenting to, make them understand what you're presenting, make them understand the data. You're getting insights. So let me give you an example. Imagine you work for an e-commerce company, right? And probably the sales dropped 15%. Now everyone is panicking. Oh, what could have caused this drop? Why did our sales drop a whole 15%? That's a lot. Now the CEO meets with you. Okay, the CEO wants to know why. Why did our sales drop 15%? Right? And now as a data analyst, what is your role here? You go into the data. You need to understand why the sales dropped. That 50% is a whole lot, and you need to understand why it dropped. So you as a data analyst, you take the data, you dive deep into the data. You discover, oh, our mobile app users dropped 40% after maybe you've done an update. There was a recent update, right? And then the users did not use the application for some time. And that is like the number one application the company uses or users use to purchase something or to buy things or make transactions. Now, because we did not have users using this application, this mobile application, we had a drop in our sales. Now, how did the data analyst find this? By diving deep into the data. So you present clear charts, visualizations, reports, presenting to the CEO that, okay, this is what cost it. When we look at the different channels for our transactions, we saw that the mobile applications had a drop in our users, 40% drop. So the CEO now understands, okay, why we had a sales drop, and we need to be able to recover those sales. So we're working towards, okay, doing whatever updates we need to do and making this application use for the users to use again, right? Now, that is what a data analyst does. And what are the responsibilities? You identify business trends, you find patterns others miss. I mean, you are the detective, you're trying to dive into the data. You generate reports and provide insights for data. You're translating data into recommendations. You're translating data into insights. So your role here is the translator. You take data and turn it into clear visual answers. Sorry. Okay, so that is what the data analyst does. Okay, so let's in summary, the data analyst looks at what happened in your data. Just like the example I gave. Why did our sales drop? I want to find out what happened. And this role is perfect for you if you love solving puzzles or mysteries. Okay, like, oh, I'm curious. I want to solve this. I want to find out why, what happened. You also love visuals, like love to charts, graphs, and you have great communication skills. That's another important thing. You have great communication skills. Okay, so the barrier to entry is low, medium. This is like the best starting point if you want to get into the data space. This is like the best starting point if you want to get into the data space. Okay, so before I proceed, if you're following, please let's give type a 1 in the chat box if we are still following. Are we following? Type a 1 in the chat box if you are following. All right, I can see some chats in the chat box. All right, that's good. That's good. So let's proceed. Okay, so now that we know what the data engineer does, the data analyst does, now let's dive deep into the data scientist. What does data scientists, what do they do? Let's talk about them, okay? And like I mentioned before, they're the predictors, right? They can predict what happens in the future. They predict what happens in the future. Now, who is a data scientist? A data scientist is a professional who extracts insights from data using statistical analysis, machine learning, and data-driven storytelling to drive strategic decisions. Now, if you want to, okay, but the data analyst also analyzes data to like get insights. So what's the difference between data analyst and data scientist? I just mentioned the key difference here. They don't just tell you what happened. They also tell you, they predict what will happen. So the data analyst is focusing on what happened, and the data scientist is focusing on both what happened and what will happen, but more on what will happen. They predict how the sales will be in the next month, in the next 1 year, right? They predict. So you know how magicians work, right? They do abracadabra and poof, something pops up. Yeah, the data scientists, they do their magic wand, and yeah, they're able to predict what is going to happen in the nearest future or even in the future, right? That's the data scientist for you. Okay, and let me give an example. So imagine you work for a bank, right? Let's look at the banking industry. You work for a bank and they want to know which customers will leave in the next 3 months. So they want to start planning, okay, let's see how many customers are we going to lose in the next 3 months. Right. Now, what is your job as a data scientist here? You're going to build a model using machine learning that would analyze data, different hundreds of factors, the app logins, mobile application logins, transactions patterns. So you're going to go into the transactions data, find patterns, right? The customer service data, customer service interactions. Now your model gives each customer in the company a churn probability score. What does this mean, right? You want to know customers at risk of leaving, high-risk customers before they leave. So once you've done that, the company now reaches out to these high-risk customers before they leave. Okay, probably they can give them promo or say, what can we do to make this service better for you? Because we already predicted they're going to leave, right? So we need to be able to work to make them not to leave. That's the work of data scientists, right? You are predicting the future based on patterns in your data. Okay? Keyword predict, future outcomes. Okay? You're predicting future outcomes. And now what are the key roles, responsibilities? Okay? We have translating data into business strategy, uncovering hidden patterns in your data, right? And developing predictive models and using machine learning for automation. Okay, using machine learning for automation. Now, just like I summed it up, data scientist focuses on what will happen. And this is perfect for you if you probably enjoyed math or statistics in school, or you enjoy it currently. Statistics, mathematics, because trust me, there might be a lot of calculations, right? And you're naturally curious and scientific. Okay, you also like the idea of AI and machine learning. Okay, so the barrier to entry is also high. or say medium high, right? Because it requires more coding, more statistics, more maths. You're going to code a lot also. Yes, that's the truth. You're going to code a lot. High coding. Okay, so that's if you fit into any of this, it's perfect for you. Data scientist is perfect for you. Now, moving on, let's do a quick comparison. Let's put everything together and look at the difference between the three roles. So first of all, probably you're gonna ask the question, okay, how do we get data? That's for data engineer, right? So question is, okay, where's data coming from? How do we get this data? Where are we going to get data from? That's the data engineer asking that question. Now, the data analyst is asking what happened today? What's our total sales? What exactly happened and why did it happen? You're drawing up dashboards to give this report of what happened. End of day reports, or even start of day reports of what happened previously. And then the data scientist, you're asking what will happen. I want to know what will happen. I want to know what will happen. I want to be able to predict the future. And then for data engineer, your focus is infrastructures, systems, pipelines, building all this. And then for data analyst, your focus is insights, getting insights, drawing up reports. That's your focus as a data analyst. Insights, reports, right? And then for data scientists, your focus is prediction, data modeling, prediction, forecasting, right? And then for data engineers, you usually focus on present, real-time data, getting the data from wherever it is, real time. For data analysts, you're focusing on past data. You're going into the past data, what has happened before with our data, past historical data. And then for data scientists, you're focusing on future, predictive. You're focusing on future data, predicting what will happen. So you see the difference, present, past, future. These are the focus. And then for data engineers, the output, you have pipelines, you're building pipelines, designing databases. For data analysts, doing the same, dashboards, designing dashboards, reports, generating reports. And then you have data scientists focusing on machine learning, ML models, and predictions. Okay, now let's look at the level of the technical level for each of these roles. For data engineer, it's highly technical. It is highly technical. And then for data analysts, it is moderate technical, moderate. And then for the data scientists, advanced technical. I mean, you're going to be doing a lot of machine learning models, predictions. So it's highly technical, advanced technical. Okay, so this is the difference between the three. So you want to be able to know where you fall in or what you want to even get into. What you want to get into. Okay? Now, this is just showing us the comparison between the different roles. Now, let's look at the different key responsibilities for each of this. I know I mentioned some before, but let's dive into the different responsibilities side by side for the data engineer, the data analyst, and the data scientist. Okay, so first of all, for the data engineer, we have designing systems that collect data from various sources. So you have data coming from mobile application, you have data coming from POS, you have data coming from websites. All these are data sources to collect data from. And then you clean and transform the data to be analysis ready. You also implement data storage in a way that is efficient. I mean, that's the key word there, efficient, secure, scalable. I mean, if your business or a company has they were generating 100,000 data from their source, right? Now, their customers has grown overnight to 1 million. Their storage, because they designed the storage for just 100,000, that storage is going to explode. Yes, it's going to explode because they did not put scalability in mind. And you as a data engineer, you have to put that in mind, scalability. How can this storage scale even when our data grows, even when the company grows? can this storage be secure? Is it secure? All these are things. Like I said, I mentioned logic. Logic. If it's someone that loves think, you have to system design. You have to think about it. It's not just you building it. Okay, this storage has to be secure. Orchestrating, automating data flow, and making sure that this data is integrated with the tools that needs the data, right? Allowing the data analyst or analyst to analyze the data effectively. And then we have the data analysts, extracting insights from data. They work with structured data, structured and clean data. All right, they visualize data, apply statistical visualization tools to analyze the data, build data models. This data model is different from the model you're going to do in data scientists. It's more like data modeling, the blueprint of how your data is going to look like, right? Develop visualizations for effective communication of these insights, okay? And perform descriptive, diagnostic, and prescriptive analytics. So this is the focus for the data analyst. Then we have the data scientists. So they focus on extracting insights from data. They also work with structured data, and they also work with unstructured data, right? So data scientists is not only focusing on working with clean data or structured data. They can work with structured, unstructured, semi-structured, okay? They also apply statistical and machine learning tools or techniques for prediction. That is applying predictive models to solve problems. The data scientists also utilize visualizations for effective data exploration. Okay, and they also make use of machine learning to solve business problems. So these are the key responsibilities for each of these roles that I just mentioned. Okay, so the key responsibilities. Now let's look at some of the jobs you can apply to as a data as in any of these roles. So we have data engineer, we have data analyst, we have data scientist. For data engineer, you can apply to a data engineer role, analytics engineer, BI engineer or developer. Also for the cloud aspect, we have AWS cloud engineer, Azure cloud engineer, GCP cloud engineer, or big data cloud engineer. These are roles, so many more roles. These are roles you can apply to as a data engineer. For data analyst, you can apply to the data analyst role, right? You can apply to the business intelligence analyst role, market analyst. If anything that has analyst, as a data analyst, you can apply to that role. As long as that analyst at the back, sales analyst, logistic analyst, supply chain analyst, operations analyst, you can apply to these roles and so many more roles. So you're not only tied to data analyst. Some people will be looking for only data analyst role or only a data engineer role. No. Some of these job descriptions may not put data engineer or data analyst or data scientist. They may use another name for it. But it's now you looking at the job description. Does it tie to the role of a data engineer or data analyst, or even some of these roles we have here? And then we have the data scientist role. You can apply to any role in data analytics role. Yeah. Data scientist, machine learning engineer, forecasting analyst, demand planning, big data analyst, and quantitative analyst. So these are the different roles you can apply to in any of these roles. Okay. Now, moving on, let's do a bit of interactiveness here. So we want to be able to, okay, I can say a question, can a data analyst apply for a business analyst role? Well, there are two different career paths, right? But if you have the business side of things, like if you have knowledge in the business analyst role, you can apply for the data. You definitely, as a data analyst, you can apply for that. Okay. So for data scientists, do we need further certification after the program to secure a job? If you don't need it if you take a training with us, you actually don't need that. Well, we have students that have gotten a job directly. But if you on your own, you choose to get certified, good. I mean, experience speaks more than certifications, right? It's experience as the main thing. Experience is the main thing. You having the skill and experience. Okay. So now let's do this self-assessments. Okay, I want everyone to be able to answer this honestly, right? So we know which one is for you, right? So you know the best fit for you. So as a data engineer, For data engineers, do you enjoy building systems? Are you comfortable with coding for hours? I mean, you can code for hours from morning till night. Okay, I'm just joking. It may not be morning till night, but yes, you code for long. So are you comfortable coding for hours? Do you prefer working behind the scenes? Because yes, data engineers are not out there. They're not like data analysts that present reports to stakeholders. So you are more of behind the scenes. So do you prefer working behind the scenes? You're not out there. Okay, does optimizing, improving systems excite you? So if that is you, answer honestly. Okay, assess yourself. This is best for builders. Okay, and then we have for data analysts. Do you love finding stories in numbers? We're just curious. Okay, I need to find what happened here. Or you're good at explaining things simply. I recall mentioning communication skills, good communication skills. You love explaining things simply. Just love explaining what's happened, right? Do you enjoy creating visualizations? Probably you're creative, right? You love creating visualization, charts, maps, all that, visualizing something. And are you curious about the business? Are you curious about business? Because if you don't understand the business, there's no way you can even work as a data analyst. Yes, you need to understand what is going on in the business. So, and this is best for communicators. Can you communicate these insights you have gotten from the data? So assess yourself and answer these questions honestly. And then we have for data scientists, do you enjoy mathematics, statistics? Yes. Are you fascinated by AI or machine learning? That's ML. Are you fascinated by all this? AI, anything AI or ML, are you fascinated? Do you like experimenting? Well, I want to try this. I want to try this. I want to try this out. Or do you enjoy research, reading research? So if you're more of, this is best for researchers, but I mean, anybody can do it. But answer this honestly, from your own background, from your own experience, from your own personality. Okay? So you can use this framework to answer honestly, to know which part is the right one for you, which is the best fit. Okay? Which category you fall into. Okay. So, moving forward, what are the key takeaways from all that I have said? Okay, I think I have. Okay, from all that I have said, what are the key takeaways? Okay, first of all, three distinct but connected roles, right? We've looked at data engineers, they build, data analysts translate, they interpret, and the data scientists, they predict. So they are different, but these three roles, they work together. They work together, right? And then the data analyst, like I mentioned before, is the best starting point for a beginner. So, well, you can start from data engineer, you can start from data scientist, but usually data analyst is the best starting point and it has the lowest entry barrier. Okay, more job openings for beginners. Okay, and then skills build on each other. So we have SQL, Python, and data fundamentals. They transfer across all roles. Like I mentioned before, as a data scientist, you can apply for all roles in your data analyst roles, all roles in data analytics. So you have transferable skills across all roles. Even as a data engineer, you're using Python. Even data scientists use Python. SQL, all the roles use SQL. So we have transferable skills across all the roles. So they build on each other. Okay. And then the market is growing fast. Okay. I mean, looking at the market research, all three roles, they show 20% to 35% growth. There's a real high demand for these roles. And now is the time to start. Now is the time to start. Okay, you need to get started in any of this role. So now, from what everything I've said and everything you've heard, do you feel clearer now about these career paths? Okay, if you feel clearer now, put a yes or no in the chat box. Okay, if you feel clear based on the self-assessment you've done, okay. So I want to see it in the chat box. Okay, I can see yes. Okay, so use the self-assessment I showed you, assess yourself, what you would love to get into, or based on your own personality and experience, which one you would want to go for genuinely. Okay, but yes, you can get started now. Now is the time to start. All right. So that's it for me. Thank you, everyone. So I will hand over to my colleague, who's going to tell you on how you can get started now. Pick any of these roles and get started. We are offering training on everything. So please, I'm going to hand over to my colleague. So Jedediah, please, um, you can get started. Thank you.
Hi, Taiwo. It's been an awesome session having you on the call. I'm sure we all had a wonderful time listening to Taiwo through this session. I'm sure we learned a thing or two going through the session. And I'm sure some of us already have made up our minds, as regards to what tech track might be right for us based on all of the explanations that we've gone through with Taiwo. So I'd like to throw in my own question, before we get started. All right, before we get started, I would like for everyone to share in the chat which one of these do you see yourself getting into? If it would be data analytics for you, just type DA in the chat. If it's data science, you can go on to type DS. And if it's data engineering, you actually see yourself getting into, then go on to type DE. All right. I can see some people for DA, data analytics. I can see Toby. I can see Ola. Ola says DA and DS. That's interesting. All right. We have Sarah JB, DS. I don't think I've seen any DE yet. Are we scared of engineering? Is it because of the name? I've not seen any data engineering yet. It's mostly DADS. Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. It's lovely to have everyone. And it's great to see that we now have a proper understanding of what we are getting into and are already having ideas as to how we fit into these specific tech roles and how we can actually make this transition getting into this space and actually excelling at it. Thank you, Taiwo, so much for a wonderful session. We've truly learned a lot from the conversation today. And yeah, I'll be taking over from here and I'll be basically be taking us through a couple of more things as we go into the session. Now, Taiwo has been able to break down what it takes or what these three tech tracks entail, what the job of the data analyst is, what the job of the data scientist is, as well as the job of the data engineer. Right now, I'll be taking us through how exactly we can make this transition, what it takes to actually get into any one of these spaces and excel at it. Right. So now we understand what they entail. But is this actually a tech path that you actually want to get into? Data science, data engineering, data analytics. Are these actually relevant tech paths? Are these paths that should you be concerned whether AI is coming to take your job? Are these paths that you actually would want to get into? And the answer to that is yes. These are career paths that are currently in demand. And we here at Analytics have done extensive research to actually confirm that claim. We've gone through the task of scraping through multiple job boards from LinkedIn to Indeed, Glassdoor, Total Jobs, Monster, Google search, and so much more. And we've come to realize that these career paths are actually very relevant career paths and are currently in demand globally. Right. So if you get into any one of these spaces, you stand a high chance of actually getting a job. So why do we recommend these for you? What is the validation? What is the confidence? What metrics have we seen? What information gives us this confidence, right? That you can actually get into this space and actually excel at it. Now we went through this research with three major metrics in mind, right? We went through this research with three major things in mind. The first is ease of learning. We want to look for tech tracks that are easy to learn. Right now, Taiwo has explained to us that we would need to do some programming. We would need to look into Python. Trust me, it's not as scary as it sounds, right? Python is one of the simplest programming languages out there, right? So we looked into which tech parts are actually easy to learn. which tech parts are easy to get into. Now, ease of transition, right? Regardless of whatever industry you're currently working in, regardless of whatever position you're currently working in, is there an ease of transition into the tech space, especially into these three tech tracks, right? So we've looked, our focus was on ease of learning, ease of transition, and then high reward, high salary. Right. I'm sure that's the juicy part for some of us, right? That's one of the most interesting parts of the journey for a lot of us. For me, right? That's one of the, major parts of the work or one of the major attractions of the tech space for me. Right. And I'm sure it is the same thing for a lot of us as well. So we went through our research with these three major metrics in mind, and we've come to realize that these three tech tracks, data analytics, data science, data engineering actually check these boxes, right? They actually check these boxes. Now, beyond this research that we've done at Analytics, looking into these individual job boards, we've also seeked out external validation to confirm our claim. Right. And where did we get this external validation? We looked at the Future of Jobs report, which is a report that comes out every single year. Right. This is a report that's been released every single year after extensive research by the World Economic Forum. Now, this is a global organization, and this report is published every single year. And year in, year out, we've seen that these tracks have constantly topped the charts. All right. So we've done our research to find out these tracks are actually ones that have ease of learning, ease of transition, high reward salaries. All right. We've also used this report to actually validate that claim. Now, this is a global report that shows the job growth and decline for the next 5 years. And like I said, this is a report that goes out every single year. And consistently, we've seen these jobs top the charts. You can see data engineers, data analytics, data scientists. You can see at the very top, big data specialists. That's number one on the list. You can see AI machine learning specialists, right? Which is where the data scientists fall under. You can see data warehousing specialists. You can see data analysts and scientists, data engineers, process automation specialists. These are all jobs that you can actually get into with the skills that you are being equipped with on the data engineering, data analytics, and data science programs here at Analytics. All right. There's a lot more beyond these, actually. There's a lot more jobs. Taiwo has shown us a long list of, jobs or titles that we can actually apply to with the skills that we are going to be gaining on the program. Right. So this is just some validation to tell you, yes, data analytics is a track that you would want to get into because there's demand, there's ease of transition, there's high reward when you actually get in, and is easy to learn. It's easy to learn. The way analytics does it makes it even simpler and easier to learn and pick up these skills. All right. So, what do you need to do to get these jobs? Now we understand who a data scientist is, who a data analyst is, who a data engineer is, and we've come to understand which one might be right for us based on the conversation we've had with Taiwo in the last 40 minutes. All right. We've come to understand what these three tech tracks are. Right. We've also come to understand that these three tech tracks are actually in demand in the tech workspace, offer high paying salaries, and can be easily transitioned into regardless of whatever background we have, right? So what exactly do we need to do in order to get these jobs? What do we need to do in order to get into this space? There are two major things that employers want to see, that they want to get from you. Number one would be your skills, right? They want to see that you actually have these skills. They want to see that you actually know how to build dashboards. They want to see that you actually know how to write the Python code. They want to see that you actually know how to interact with a database. They want to see build pipelines, robust systems that allow for, proper data access and usage. All right, data storage, data access, data usage, proper analysis, professional work. They want to see that you actually have these skills. All right. Now, beyond that, they also need some employability skills. They need you to be able to communicate. You're building a dashboard. You need to be able to tell a data story as a data analyst after building that dashboard. You need to be able to communicate the insights that you have. You need to be able to collaborate with other people on your team. All right. So you need technical skills as well as employability skills to excel in the job space. Now, one more very important thing that they need is experience. Now, we've probably applied to different jobs, or at least been on the job search front, where we've seen, multiple organizations asking for 2 years of experience, 3 years of experience, and so on. What most of these organizations are concerned about, especially within the tech space, is some proof of expertise, some proof of proficiency, all right? Some proof of competence within this space, all right? And what gives them that confidence? If you've worked for an organization for 4 years and they did not fire you, it means you are good at your job, right? Correct? If you've worked in an organization for 5 years, this organization did not send you out, it means you're good at your job and you're actually delivering on the job. That's why they've not sent you out. So how can you show this proof of expertise? How can you show you have some experience without having actually worked within an organization? And that's where you get to show your work. As my Nigerians would say, show workings, no be cho cho cho. Have you? So you want to show proof of competence, even though you have not actually worked in this space. You have not worked as a data analyst before. You've not worked as a data engineer before. How can you prove to an organization that you know these things, that you are competent, and that if they hire you, you can deliver on the job? These are the two major things that organizations are looking out for: your skills, which would include technical and employability skills, and then your experience. Right? Now, how exactly does Tenalytics help you to gain these things? I'm going to be starting, first of all, with the skills. How does Tenalytics help you to gain these skills? Now, we start with the technical skills. I'm going to start with the technical skills. You are able to pick up these technical skills through our well-structured and robust learning curriculum that you're going to be going throughout the length of your learning journey here at Analytics. We have two major learning platforms, which is the self-paced LMS, all right? Learning management system that we have developed here within Analytics, and it's designed to adapt to your learning style, right? We have, videos and resources available for you to take on and learn at your own pace. You get to watch these videos at your own pace and catch up and be better prepared for subsequent sessions that we have. Now, after you go through this Watch Me Day videos, you're able to pick up on some of these technical skills that are required on the job, just like we discussed. But also, after you go through this, we have live instructor-led classes that happen on alternating weekends. Now, during these sessions, you're having a conversation with a facilitator who is an expert in the field, just like Taiwo. All right. And you are learning directly from this person. You are working on an actual project that simulates a real world example. Now, as you go through this project, you're simply going to be implementing all of the technical knowledge that you have learned from the self-paced videos, and you are applying it on an actual real world example. So through this, you don't just learn these things in passing or know them theoretically, but you are actually working on practical examples that allow you to be able to develop these technical skills that are required on the job. Now, beyond that, we also have employability skills that you need to pick up. These employability skills include having a standard CV that positions you as a data engineer, a data scientist, or a data analyst. And we actually go through this process of revamping the CV along with you. Besides this, we have the LinkedIn optimization session. And the focus here is on helping you revamp your LinkedIn profile, ensuring that it portrays you as that ideal data scientist, data analyst, or data engineer that would perform effectively on the job. So the LinkedIn gives you a persona, a public profile that whenever one sees that, they basically envision you as an ideal a professional data scientist or data engineer or data analyst, right? And then your CV goes on to speak further on your behalf, right? So you might be working in the current industry, maybe as a medical doctor or an engineer or in whatever industry you're currently working, all right? And you want to get into tech, you need to ensure that your CV portrays you in that light. And that's what the CV revamp as well as LinkedIn optimization are about. Now, beyond that, we also take you through navigating the job market sessions. Now, this session is focused on teaching you and training you about how the tech market works. You are pretty much familiar with the industry you work in. If you currently work in healthcare, you are familiar with that industry. You understand what recruiters are looking for. You understand what needs to go into your CV, how to navigate that entire space. But then the tech job market is completely new to you. So we'll be training you on how to navigate this market, as well as prepare you for interviews. So now you have a stellar CV, you have a profile that positions you, and you understand how the tech market operates, and you're going on to apply to jobs, and you're eventually called for an interview. You can actually book a session with us here at Analytics, and we prepare you, right? We help you understand what kind of questions to expect during the interview and how exactly to answer these questions, right? We have our team of experts that will be guiding you through the interview preparation sessions. Now, beyond that, we also provide job reference letter. So even after you have landed the job and this organization wants to see some proof, right, from previous places where you've actually applied these skills, you can actually request for a reference letter from Analytics and we can provide that to you. Now, even after you have landed the job and you need some support, say you come across something very technical, that you have not gotten to that level, you can actually request for on-the-job support and we make that available for you. We have weekly mentorship sessions that happen every single week on Thursdays. And the purpose is basically to help you pick up on the soft skills that are required. Things like how to negotiate salaries during an interview, things like how to, optimize your profile on public spaces so that you're better positioned as a data analyst, data scientist, data engineer, how to answer specific interview questions and the likes of it. Right now, beyond all of this, if you decide you don't want to work within a conventional setting for an organization and you want to work freelance, there's actually opportunity for you to do that. You can leverage the Upwork optimization session that helps you position yourself, leveraging freelance platforms and not necessarily working for an organization, but rather working freelance and getting paid for specific projects that you work on. So this gives you a lot more flexibility. And you can see that with all of this, you're actually equipped with the skills that are required, both technical and employability skills. If all of this is making sense to you, can you type a one in the chat? If you're already excited about what the journey is going to look like, can you just go on to type a one in the chat? There's a lot of value that you're getting on the program. There's a lot that you're going to be equipped with as you get into the program. Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, beyond all of this, I mentioned that we are not just getting equipped with technical skills, and employability skills, but we also need to show some proof of competence. We need to be able to show that we have experience actually using these tools. You need to be able to show that I know Python, I've used it before. And how exactly do you do that? I've already explained to us one way, right? Through the live classes that we go through, we are actually working on real life case studies. So at the end of that live class, you would actually have a project that portrays or that replicates a real life scenario, and you can add that to your portfolio as a proof of competence. So throughout your entire journey, every single life class you're stepping into would be focused on a real life example, a real life case study where you are working on a project that can be further added to your portfolio. And once all of this is put together, you have a robust portfolio that shows that you know these things, you have done it before, and this is evidence. This is proof of competence. You can see a couple of examples for Victor as well as Lemuel, right? These are people that have gone through the data science, data engineering program, data analytics program here with us at Analytics. And these are a couple of samples of their portfolios. All right. Now, beyond this, you also get to enjoy a 2 months period of internship with our partner organization called Amidari. Now, you get to train with Analytics for 6 months throughout this period, which you'll be learning the technical skills as well as implementing them on case studies that are added to your portfolio, right? After this time, you also spend a 2 months internship with our partner organization, Amidari, where you are also working on more projects. The focus at Amidari is simply on working on projects. You're no longer learning. You've gone through 6 months of learning with analytics, and the focus at Amidari is actually working on projects. At the end of the day, the collection of projects you have from Analytics, as well as the ones you have from Amdari, gets to be added to your portfolio that portrays you as that expert that actually knows what they're doing, and there's proof and evidence of the work you have done. Now, beyond all of this, you also have the unique opportunity of including both Tenalytics and Amedari on your CV as well as LinkedIn profile. Tenalytics is a registered company in the US and Canada, and Amedari is a registered company in the UK. So you have that flexibility of having these two organizations added to your CV. How better does it get? Right? Type a one if this is all sounding exciting to you. I would like you to type a one in the chat if all of this is sounding really exciting to you. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, beyond all of this, you're also able to enjoy from the Tenalytics advantage. Right? We call this the special Tenalytics advantage. Right? I already spoke to us about the mentorship session that happens every single week. This is a unique opportunity that you get to benefit from as a participant of Tenalytics. All right. So once you are able to go through this process, once you're able to go through the training, you actually have the unique opportunity of enjoying the mentorship sessions. And what is the mentorship session about? This is a unique session that's focused on helping you build the soft skills that are required on the job, right? How to answer interview questions. We take you through these unique sessions that each dedicated to specific tracks, that are each dedicated to very specific concepts that you are going to be learning as you go through this journey. All right. We'll take you through interview simulations where we are practically simulating an interview, right? And we have experts, recruiting experts that are giving you professional feedback on how to approach questions. We take you through sit and star approach where the focus is on answering questions. The focus is on how to answer, interview questions effectively. We'll take you through how you can utilize AI for job application and so much more. How you can, negotiate salaries during interviews, how you can negotiate benefits during interviews, and so much more. Now, besides all of this that you are learning to build up the soft skills, we have taken, the we have taken it upon ourselves to ensure that you are able to land a job or you are able to land yourself your very first interview within the tech space as you go through your learning journey. Now, what we have done to equip you with this, with the resources that you need, right? From revamping your CV to, revamping your LinkedIn profile as well. We have also paid on premium job sites to scrape for job openings. So we have taken this a step further. We have gone to pay on these premium platforms. We are scraping these jobs and making them available to you. So all you have to do is really just go on, take up anyone from this list of jobs that we make available to you and actually apply to these jobs. And when you get called for an interview, remember, you have the interview prep session readily available for you. So you can as well take advantage of that and be better equipped and prepared for your job interview. Now, through all of this, we have been able to come up with, immense success. We have multiple people that have taken the programs with us and have successfully gone through interview sessions and have actually landed roles. A very practical example would be Pavel, who has taken the data analytics program with us in August and was able to land his very first data analytics role in Arizona in the United States. We also have Ene Ojaide, who has also taken the data science program. I have personally gone through interview prep sessions with Ene, and she was able to successfully land a job working remotely from the UK. And she was able to land a job within the data science space in April of this year. All right. So we also have Gad, who was able to go through the data engineering program and was able to leverage all of the unique program offerings that we have here at Analytics and was able to land his first job as a data engineer with the NHS in the UK. There are a lot of other unique testimonials like this, different people that have taken multiple classes, multiple programs with us here at Analytics, and they've been able to successfully make that transition. All right. So for you, you now have an understanding that there's a unique opportunity for you. All right. And there's a very good chance that you can actually get into this space. And you've seen that Analytics has done this before. All right. We've shown you that we have done our research, we understand the assignments, and we have, delivered on it time and time again. And we are here to help you actually make this transition. All right. So now you have this unique opportunity of enjoying all of these benefits. But what skills do you need to have? What exactly do you need in order to land these roles? Just like Ene, just like Pavel, just like Da. How can you make this transition? What skills do you need in order to land this role? Now, for the data engineering track, you actually need to know some of the basics of data engineering. You also need to understand SQL, which is simply structured query language. Now, Taiwo explained to us that at the end, the job of the data engineer is building structures around how data is managed, how data is accessed, how data is used, how data is stored, right? So for you to store data, you typically need it to be within a central location. All right. So within the organization, data could come from multiple points, from the POS, from daily transactions that are happening, from the stores, from supply and so on and so forth, daily transactions and the likes of it. For you to be able to have a comprehensive report on how well the business is performing, you need to be able to leverage all of that data. Now, if this data is stored in multiple different locations, it can become a hassle to actually analyze all of that data. So a data engineer leverages SQL in order to put all of this data in a central location, which is called a database. All right. Now, they leverage SQL in order to store all of the data within a database. That makes it easier for you to access the data. Now, instead of going to multiple locations to source for data, everything is now stored in a central location, and that makes it easier to leverage it. So you'd also need to learn Python programming, Linux. You'd need to learn how to build ETL pipelines, database APIs, how to scrape data from multiple locations, leveraging tools like Apache Spark, Apache Airflow, data pipeline automation, and even cloud platforms like GCP and Azure. You'd also be learning version control in GitHub and so much more, which is packed within the data engineering program. Now, for the data analyst, you'd also need some SQL. However, the focus of SQL to the data analyst is slightly different from that of the data engineer. The data engineer is focused on ensuring that all of the data is stored within this central location and you can easily access it. Meanwhile, the data analyst is not concerned about putting the data in that database. They're not concerned about structuring the data. The focus of the data analyst is actually to just go into that database and retrieve what they need for their analysis, right? And how exactly do they conduct the analysis? They do that by leveraging platforms and tools like Power BI and Tableau to build visualization. But like I explained to us earlier, being able to build this visualization is one part of the work, but then being able to communicate your findings at the end of the day is another very important skill. And that's why we train you on telling data stories, being able to communicate all of your findings effectively to stakeholders. Now, this is what would be covered within the data analytics track. Now, for the data scientist, it takes it up a notch, right? You still need to learn SQL because at the end of the day, you are working with data and you need to be able to retrieve that data from a database so that you can analyze it or build your predictive model. All right. So you need SQL to be able to interact with the database. You also need Tableau, which is a visualization tool to explore that data. All right, be able to visualize it and see what patterns or trends exist in your data. Now, beyond that, you also need to be able to develop predictive models using Python. But because we understand that not everyone might have a background within the computer or IT space, and not everyone might be familiar with Python, we actually take you from the basics of Python. We take you from the basics down to exploratory data analysis, which is focused on building visualizations in Python and exploring your data. And then we get into developing predictive machine learning models and even specializations in computer vision. Everything is structured in such a way that we take you from the ground up, starting from the basics for both data engineering, data analytics, as well as the data science track, and take you all the way to the more advanced and complex ideas, ensuring that you are well equipped for this space. All right. So we take you through all of these things from the foundation all the way to more complex ideas and more complex concepts. All right. If all of this is making sense to you, could you type a one in the chat? If all of this is making sense to you, could you type a one in the chat? Awesome, Damilola. Awesome, Damilola. Fantastic. Fantastic. So with all of this in mind, we are able to see that we can get equipped with the technical skills here at Analytics. Now, beyond that, like I explained to us, we need not just the technical skills, but the employability skills as well, which are broken down for us, cutting across the CV review, LinkedIn optimization, navigating the job market, interview preparation, job reference letter, on-the-job support, weekly mentorship sessions, as well as the Upwork optimization session. Now that we have a very good understanding of what it takes, how we can get these things, what skills are required, how exactly can we get started today? How exactly can you get into any one of these spaces today? How exactly can Analytics help you to actually get into these spaces? Now, I've explained to us that we have a 6 month program during which you'll be learning, and after which you have a 2 month period of internship. And as of right now, we have a 50% discount running on our cohorts, right? You have the unique opportunity of enjoying all of these benefits of the program while paying half the price, all right? Now, how exactly can you get into this space? We have a cohort starting on the 6th of December, all right, in this year. That's a week away from now, right? That's less than 2 weeks away from today, right? And you can actually get into this and take advantage of the 50% discount we are running. The full price for the program is actually $1,000. However, you can take advantage of the discount and enjoy all of the benefits of the program for half the price. And like I said, the program starts, or the cohort starts, on the 6th of December. Now, we have about 150 slots available for these roles, right? We have about 150 slots available for all 10 programs that we offer here at Analytics. So you have a limited number of slots actually to actually get into this space and take advantage of these $500 discounts. I mean, look at this. You are getting a lot of benefits from this single program, and you're already getting all of this at half the actual price, right? Tell me this isn't something to jump on. All right. So I would like to share with you a unique opportunity of how you can actually get into this space. Now, you see this $500 that is the 50% fee. You don't need to pay the full price upfront, right? What you actually need is to pay only $125 to actually secure your slot for the next cohort starting on the 6th of December. My colleagues are already sharing the link in the chat. All you need to do is click on that link, and that takes you onto the site where you can actually get enrolled and secure your slot. What I'm going to do is share my screen and walk us through how you can actually get enrolled and secure your slot for this 50% discount. All right. So just give me another second while I pull up my screen and walk us through the process of how you can actually secure your slot for the 50% discount. So my colleagues are already sharing the link in the chat. All you need to do is click on it and you'd be able to follow me through this process. So you can secure your slot and actually take advantage of the currently running 50% discount and not miss out on this wonderful opportunity to enjoy all of these benefits at half the price. All right. Now, once you click on that link, it brings you up to this page. What you want to do is simply scroll down and locate the specific track you're interested in. So if you're interested in data analytics, simply click on buy now where it says data analytics. If you're interested in data science, simply scroll down and you see where it says full stack data scientist and go on to click on buy now. And if you're interested in data engineering, right next to data science, you'd see the button that says buy now. All you want to do is click on the button that says buy now, and that takes you to the next page. Now, this is the next page that breaks down all of the details of the program, from what is going to be covered down to who your instructors are going to be, down to the duration, as well as the structure of the entire program. You can go over this at your convenience. However, for now, so you can secure your slot, all you have to do is click on this button that says enroll now. So locate this button and then go on to click on it. And that takes you to the next page. Now, the next page will require you to sign up, provide the necessary credentials that gives you access to this platform so that you are registered and we can easily communicate with you. So you need to provide your email, you need to provide your phone number, preferably your WhatsApp number, as well as your full name. Now, these details simply make it easy for us to reach out to you and communicate with you. And once you've provided those details, what you want to do is simply go on to click on sign in. Right? And that gives you access to the actual platform where you can go on to make payment and secure your slots. Now, once you get here, what you want to do is scroll down and you get to see a full breakdown of what the payment structure looks like. If you're paying in pounds, you can actually come to the currency section over here, click on the drop down section and actually change it to pounds or whatever currency you want to pay in. If you're paying in Naira, you can as well change the currency to be in Naira and you can see the full breakdown. Now, like I explained to us, the full price for the program is $1,000. However, we currently have a 50% discount running. So you get the unique opportunity of paying half that price, which is $500, and enjoy the full benefits of the program. Now, you don't have to pay this full price upfront. You also have the unique opportunity to actually pay in installments. You have you can spread out this payment up to 4 months. And what that simply means is you can pay $125 each month for a period of 4 months. Remember, the program spans for 6 months, but you have a period of 4 months to pay in small installments of $125. So all you have to do is actually lock in your slot. So you still have the opportunity to take advantage of the 50% discount. I would recommend that you make payments right now and secure your slot with only £125. That way you are guaranteed to actually enjoy this 50% discount. Now, if you decide to pay the full price upfront, you actually enjoy a further discount. Instead of paying $500, you actually end up paying $475, enjoying all of the benefits at not just the 50% discount, but also enjoying a further discount. Now, we are being generous here at Analytics, and we're also extending this extra discounts to 2 months installments. So if you pay 2 months installments, you actually still enjoy these extra discounts. But anything beyond that, you only enjoy the 50% discount and you can break down your instrumental payments all the way up to 4 months. Once you've done that, all you need to do is click on apply discount. And that takes you on to the next page where you get to fill in all of the necessary details and actually make payments for your program. So the program starts on the 6th of December, like I explained. All you have to do is select the payment structure you want to go forward with, and you can go on to pay now, securing your slot for the December cohort. All right. So if you're getting to secure a slot right now, if you're securing your slot right now, can you just give me a one in the chat? If you're securing your slot right now, if you're securing your slot like right now, you want to take advantage of this 50% discount. If you want to enjoy this discount right now and you want to take advantage of it, can you just go on to type a one in the chat? All right. So all you have to do is go on to complete this process right now on the call, and you get the unique opportunity of enjoying all of the benefits of the program. Wonderful. Josephine has registered already and has taken away one of the slots. So we have a little less available now. Remember, once this 150 slots get filled out, you need to pay the full price. All right. Lulu is asking USD or CAD. So the calculations or the breakdown I showed to us was actually in USD. For you to get the breakdown in CAD, all you have to do is come over to the currency section here, click on the drop down and change that to CAD, and you see the full breakdown in Canadian dollars. So the half price would, or the 50% would be 7. All right. So now we have a full breakdown of the program structure, as well as how we can make payments and actually get enrolled onto the program. Right? Some people are already making payments and are already securing their slots. So I would really encourage us to go on to, secure our slots. As my colleagues are sharing the link in the chat. So as the links keep dropping, please ensure you fill out those, go through that and actually secure your slot for the 50% discount. Now, very importantly, my colleagues have also shared the attendance form. Please, if you haven't filled out the attendance form yet, it's very important so you can have access to, the recording of today's session, as well as further details on how you can move forward in your career as whether a data analyst, data scientist, or data engineer. All right. So it's been awesome speaking to every one of us. It's been wonderful speaking to us. I'm sure some of us are already securing our slots, taking advantage of the discounts that's made available. Please go on to secure your slot, and I'll be looking forward to having every one of us in class in the coming week. All right. So I'm good. I'm just going to take the next couple of minutes to attend to a couple of the questions that we might have before we close off for the evening. My colleague Taiwo is also around. I think should be bringing in her own expertise as well in responding to any questions that we might have. So if you do have a question in the next 5 to 6 minutes, you can go on to type it in the chat and we'll be sure to respond to it before we drop off the call for tonight. In the meantime, if you're making payments, you can go on to do that right now so you can secure your slot and actually take advantage of the cohort. All right. Mutuni is asking when are the classes? The classes happen on alternating weekends, like I explained. All right. A simple way to interpret that is out of the 4 weekends in a month, you actually have classes for like 2 weekends. And these classes are happening on Saturdays. All right. So you have a class on Saturday, and the Sunday immediately after, you get access to the beat-sized videos, the watch me do it videos, which we discussed, available on the LMS. All right. So over the course of the next 2 weeks, you actually have the chance to go over those watch me do it videos before the next live class on the following Saturday. Right. So live classes on Saturdays, and then you have watch me do it videos that you can watch at your pace for a period of about 2 weeks before the next live class. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Any other questions, please go on to share them in the chat. Let's take the next 2 to 3 minutes to answer, questions that we might have while we also go about the process of, getting enrolled. All right. Motun, have you secured your slot yet?
or are you doing that right now? All right, so Motun is also securing the slot. Nosakari is asking, please, what time of the day on Saturday? So we actually have two time slots, ensuring that this is convenient for people across multiple time zones. So we have the morning session, which starts from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time. So the class spans for 3 hours, all right? 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time, all right? And then we also have the evening session that starts from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time. Right. So if you do the math, calculate to, the US time zone or Canadian time zone, that's around 10 a.m. to, 1 p.m., 2 p.m. around that time. All right. Josephine is asking, can 2 classes per month prepare someone without tech knowledge for 6 months? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. We've gone through this multiple times. We've gotten validation after implementing this. So we've tested it, we've done our research, and we've actually structured our curriculum to accommodate for this. Now, the reason we have this structured this way to have a free weekend in between is so that you have time to digest the content of your learning. You have time to practice. You have time to ask questions and really understand what exactly you are going into before we start introducing a new concept in the next live class. So it's been proven to work. We've had participants that have gone through this journey and have succeeded in even landing jobs before completing the program. So yes, absolutely yes. It's more than enough for you to make that transition and actually land your very first role. Make sense, Josephine? Does that answer your question? All right. Now a question to you. Have you secured your slot or are you doing that right now? Okay. So which one of the tracks are you interested in? I'm guessing you're, signing up for your role as well. All right. Awesome. Awesome, Josephine. I'll be looking forward to having you in class. Now, it's been awesome speaking with every one of us. At this point, I think we'll be drawing the curtains. It seems we don't have a lot of questions. I believe Taiwo has been able to really break things down as simply as possible for every single one of us. All right. So at this point, we'll be drawing the curtains for today's session. So I have a question. Is there no WhatsApp chat connect a particular cohort because I have registered for the December cohort earlier. But okay, yes, you would have access to the WhatsApp chat starting next week. Before the cohort starts, you'd actually be onboarded into your WhatsApp group for your entire, for your cohort, for your class, right? It's going to be specific to just your class, and you'll be onboarded starting next week, right? Before the cohort starts. I believe you now have access to the Google Classroom as well as the elements. All right, so further onboarding processes we commence starting next week. All right. It's been a wonderful session. It's been awesome speaking to every single one of us on the call. I would like for us to all go on to secure our slots before the cohort starts next week and take advantage of the discounts that's currently running. I want us all to have a lovely evening, and I'll be looking forward to having each and every one of us in the coming session. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a lovely evening. Bye for now.